maybe do a little bit more digging before you give up. Because I see a lot in Facebook groups, people have tested 5, 10 different niches, or, they've done one thing for a couple of weeks, didn't work. Definitely, really put the work into it and give it the best shot. And and hopefully you'll find the diamonds.
You're listening to Ecomonics, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. Clayton Bates has a number of admirable qualities, and his business model is a reflection of that. He's reviewed over 1,500 websites and has secured a coveted partnership with Shopify in the process. In addition to teaching us about some of the most common mistakes, he also talks about some key services you should be looking into and how he keeps himself oriented and focused in life. If you have an e-commerce store, there is no reason on earth not to seek his guidance. Clayton Bates, it's good to have you here. Thank you for coming on to the show.
No dramas. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start with a broad overview of what you do these days. I understand you've surpassed 1,500 website reviews. So tell us about inspiresmallbusiness.com.
So basically, the main thing we do is redesign Shopify websites. And basically, if someone reaches out to us, we will actually do a video review for their website, going through some tips and suggestions to improve it, totally for free, so they can get a good understanding of what they actually need to do to get sales on their website. And there's no pressure to hire us or anything. And then if they actually want to hire us, we actually redesign their website. So I'd say nearly all the work is redesigning websites that someone's already tried to build themselves. Every now and then we'll do one from scratch or some little small task, but yeah, most of it's redesigning Shopify websites. So, yeah.
And people are typically reaching out to you, but was that always the case? Because I would imagine maybe early on you had to do a little bit of either cold calling or hot calling or whatever would be the equivalent of it.
Yeah, at first it was really hard. I actually used to go on the Shopify forums and people would ask for help and stuff like that. And I would actually end up sending them a video review to their email. But last year, Shopify actually made me one of their experts. And now Shopify actually sends me leads all the time. So I actually don't have to do any marketing. I get about 100 to 1,000 leads a week. For this.
100 to 1,000?
Yeah.
That's a lot of leads. How do you sift through those?
Well, I actually they've got them sectioned out. So I actually had to turn some of them off because I actually couldn't handle just the sheer amount of emails that was coming to me. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. So,
yeah, I mean, I hear lead, I'm thinking like 2 or 3. I'll find some time on Tuesday to get to these. But no, they've made sure it's a feast for you.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they've got a tiered structure on how many leads they send you. So if you tick all the boxes, then you get more leads, sort of thing. But I guess it really comes down to all the hard work I put in 2019 to be in this position. I would say most businesses probably have their problem when they do stuff like me is getting leads, and my problem is I can't actually do all the work. So I actually need to hire more people. So it's a good position to be in, I guess. So, yeah.
Oh, great. So, I'll follow up with you on that because we can check in a little bit more on your current expansion process. But can you give us some insight into how you specifically became a Shopify partner? Like, did they call you? Did they send you an email? You just said, "Yeah, I'm good," or was it a little bit more of a lengthy process?
So do you mean what actually made me want to do this, or how did they accept me through the whole thing?
My inclination was the second part, but you're welcome to let us know about the first part too.
Yeah, well, basically, I used to have my own business where I built a Shopify website for my business. And, it was a real struggle for me at first. And I actually went to YouTube a lot and learned a lot about how to build a website. And I think after about 3 or 4 years of doing that, I went to Bali and I ran into this woman that was actually living in Bali building websites. And I spoke to her a lot. And she was from Germany, I think, and it really inspired me that that was the funnest part of my business was building the website. And I thought, what if I could do something like this? And I had a pretty good job at the time. I had the business on the side, so I was cruising sort of in life, and it was pretty big risk to do something like this. And it
Hmm.
took me about a year to work up the courage to do it. Resigned, reached out to Shopify. They actually didn't make me a partner at first. So they pretty much gave me feedback like maybe if I did some YouTube videos, something like that. I did that and then they made me a partner, I think in some 2018, I think. And then 2019, they actually emailed me out of the blue and asked me if I wanted to be an expert. So I had to go through like a qualification sort of thing. So I had to give them examples of sites, how I've helped people, things like that. They come back and they approve me, and yeah, that's sort of how it sort of all happened, I guess.
Hmm. So for people who aspire to also reach that status, this would be a good place or a good. I'm kind of like an off-topic question, but would people ever be welcome to reach out to learn a little bit more about getting into partnership?
Yeah, no dramas
Okay.
at all.
All right, sweet. Uh, all right. Now, you were mentioning that you were. This was also something that I read. That when you were building the Shopify store, it felt like adult Lego. Do you remember that quote?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I want to touch on this because I want to remember to encourage people that when they're looking for what to do, obviously money is a big motivator, but it is also about that raw feeling of joy that where our passion is derived from. So I would like to hear you expand a little bit more on how it made you feel compared to how you were feeling prior to it.
well, yeah, it was just really exciting to build websites. Like, I actually felt like a kid again, building my original website. I loved Lego when I was a kid, so I guess that's how I sort of come up with that quote.
Hmm.
But yeah, it just felt like that you had to you had no instructions. Like it's like Lego sent you a website with no instructions and you had to work it out yourself. And that's how it's always sort of felt for me. I think every business I've had has been something that I've been really passionate about. And doing this business has actually made me realize that, there is people that can do a business that they're not passionate about and make money. But I would say a very high percentage of people need to be passionate about the business that they do to make it work. So,
Yeah, I think without that element of it's easier for burnout to set in because there's different. It's almost like there's different reserves of energy, and the more natural, the more organic the energy, the easier it is to manifest.
yep, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and also, sorry, was just going to say, and
yeah,
also from my own perspective, is that I'm Italian, so we're fueled by passion, but you don't know. For me, it doesn't necessarily need to be like 100% or 0%. Like with me and podcasting, is that I would give it like a 75% or an 80%. Like it's very high on my list, but there are things that are more passionate, but the odds of me being able to make a Legend of Zelda game are pretty thin. So it is for me. It's been helpful to find a balance for something that gives me enough drive to move forward, but still, there's other things in my life that I can just focus on the joy, and I don't need to worry about the stress side of it.
yeah, yeah, 100%. I actually think my old business actually got me through, like, I was probably battling a little bit with depression a few
Hmm.
years ago because I had a very stressful job. And me going home and doing that side business on the side was something that made me, like, filled me with a lot of joy. So it probably, like, balanced me out for a long time, which was really good.
Hmm.
And yeah, now I really love doing what I do, like, seeing people get sales and helping their business and building their website. Yeah, it's really, I find a lot of joy in it. Like, I find the more that people want it to work, and the more they want to put into it to make it work, is um, normally, like, I'll probably help them a lot more than the people that sort of think that it's easy, sort of thing. Like, because it fills me with a lot of joy and stuff to see people just really put everything into it, sort of thing. So
hmm And it's also pretty late for you too. Like I'm here in the morning, but for you, I think it's either 11 p.m. or midnight.
yeah, it's 11 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So when people really can't like they really can't find joy in doing their jobs, they can't wait to wrap up for the day and then go watch National Idol, whichever country that is. But you can tell when people really want to do their job, which is they're battling sleep before.
yeah, yeah. I think I woke up 7 a.m. today. So I'd normally probably wake up a little bit early, but I had a lot on today, so it's been a
Mhm.
long day. But I really, yeah, I really wanted to do this. I really love Debutify. Really
Oh,
happy with Debutify. That's why I'm here. So
awesome. Yeah, they've been great to me too. It's my relationship with them is about 4 months now, but uh, just the forward momentum of things and the scale that we're working with, it's made each day feel more distinctive, which is saying a lot considering how a lot of our time now we're spending indoors and not exactly going out and doing unique experiences. Quick question: this is a pure curiosity, but when was the last? What was your? Do you caffeinate? Like, when was your last coffee or tea?
um, I have lots of V.
Of
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
energy drinks. So
Oh, energy drinks. Okay.
do you have V over there or?
No, we're Red Bull, Red Rain, Monster.
Yeah,
There's options for sure. I'm very weird though, because I like Red Bull, but not for the energy side of it. For some
yeah,
reason, my acidic levels really enjoy the taste of Red Bull.
yeah. I'm trying not to drink so much. So I'm really in the stage. I'm trying to like, my business is going really good, so I'm trying to optimize myself at the moment. So I've got like a personal trainer and trying to get my diet going really well. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to cut it down. In other words, so yeah,
Yeah, same. Like this today is the first day I've tried to cut coffee. So I'm gonna get us back on,
yeah.
but I'm pointing the finger at myself for veering us off course. But over the course of 1,500 reviews, was there an evolution to your review process, or first couple of reviews versus your most recent reviews? How did your process change, if it did?
So there's probably been a few iterations, I guess you could say, of it. Mostly from me watching the reviews that I did, that people responded back to me or they actually hired me and stuff like that. And basically, right now, that I actually just press record. I don't even look at the person's website before I do it. So every single thing I look through their website, it's all first impressions. I used to go through the website and then actually do the review. But now it's just like first impressions, because I think, like, the person going to their website, it's all first impressions. So it's important that it's first impressions for me.
Right. Okay, that makes sense because you want to have that same mindset as if a customer were to see it for the first time.
Yeah, 100%. And then there's probably 5 areas where I, like most people, will, make little mistakes. So I always try to include those areas into the review as well. I would say nearly, like, at least 80% of people would, you know, 3 or 4 out of the 5 things would probably be something wrong there, sort of. So try to always include them because I feel they're very important. So yeah, very big
Yeah,
difference.
that was one of the questions I was going to get to because I read the 5 mistakes that you typically see on Shopify stores. It's one of the key links to your website. But for listeners who haven't visited you yet, can you tell us what the mistakes are?
Yeah. So I think the 5, probably the first one would be, a lot of people don't structure their homepage well enough, or they might sort of half be there. But I think it's very important that you structure your homepage like very well, especially if you do a lot of organic stuff. Like people are finding you on Instagram and they're coming straight to your homepage. You know, you got to get people sort of attention in 5 seconds or they leave. So it's very important to structure that homepage. I always like to try to give someone a good feeling on the website,
Mm-hmm.
you know, showcase the products, build trust with reviews, try to build a connection sort of thing. Yeah, it really depends how many products people have, what sort of products they are, on how I actually structure that or tell them, you know, advise them what they should do. The second one would be the product page. So I believe it's really important that you have like all the information about the product and build trust. I think those are the two really important things on a product page. So just for example, a lot of people have a lot of information in their product description. You know, you could actually like, it's a bit daunting sometimes, a lot of text, stuff like that. You can break it up with images. You can actually add product tabs. So you could have, instead of having your shipping information in the product description, you could have
Mm-hmm.
a tab like shipping information, returns policies. So you're just shorting it up. You really got the product description is the key things about about that product that is going to help someone actually buy it. You know, some people are going to click those tabs and find that information out, no worries at all. And then the other one would be the reviews. So having reviews and stuff like that. The great thing I like about Debutify is that they actually have a section on the product page where you can have testimonials. So if you have a business where you might only have 2 or 3 testimonials or reviews, instead of having an app with no reviews, you can actually add those testimonials to that section and they display on every single product. So it builds a little bit more trust when you're only small, sort of thing. So yeah, I really like that feature. But yeah, I think realistically, I think probably having an app like Luke's Reviews where people can leave photo reviews is very important as well. But that testimonial section is good if you're only new and you don't have many reviews. So yeah, I think those two things are very important. The third thing would be site navigation. People sort of mess this up a little bit, I think. The great thing about Debutify is you can actually build out a main menu for desktop and then a main menu for mobile. So you can structure them very well. A lot of themes actually don't do that. And the footer is pretty good on Debutify. So I actually like to have the footer set up to look professional, pretty much link anywhere on the website in 1 or 2 clicks, make it super simple for someone. So yeah, I think site navigation is very important. Make it very easy for someone to navigate your website. The fourth one would be the checkout. You would actually be very surprised how many people actually make this mistake in the checkout. When a customer gets to the checkout doesn't look anything like their website. So what I mean is people forget to add the logo. They don't color match the checkout to their website. So it's not very consistent or anything like that. So I feel like a lot of people get a bad vibe when they go to the checkout because it looks completely different to the rest of the website. So that's a very
Mm-hmm.
important one. Like I would say easily probably 5 to 20% of people would abandon a checkout when they go to those types of checkouts when they're not consistent. I actually had someone on the Shopify community. They had a lot of traffic, a really nice website, and I couldn't work out why people weren't buying off it. And I went to the checkout, no logo, looked completely different to the rest of the website. I told them that they changed it. They got 5 sales that day, which is their first 5 sales, which was crazy to think the impact like that one page could have. And then probably the fifth one is definitely mobile friendly. A lot of sites aren't very mobile friendly. And these days, probably 50 to 90% of your traffic is going to come from a mobile. So you always got to be thinking about a mobile phone. You know, it's very important to think what the site is like on a mobile. So they're probably the 5 things that.
Yeah, one of the ones that sticks out to me is especially the reviews because I do my fair share of online shopping, and when I see just text reviews, I do want to believe the legitimacy of the person, and I can get a sense of it based off the cadence and the tone and the way the person writes. But once you get photo reviews in there, I have no doubts left in my mind, because this is the person, they got the product, they're wearing it, or they're holding it, or they're wielding it, or whatever the product is. That to me is it does make a significant difference.
Yeah, yeah, massive. Yeah, I think it makes a massive difference. I actually think there's going to be a new trend coming with reviews. I actually think video reviews are going to be the new photo reviews soon, because you can. It's very easy to fake a photo review now. I think with a
Hmm.
written review, a lot of people realize, it's very easy to fake a written review, so they don't trust them as much unless it's on Amazon, eBay, stuff like that. And then when the photo review come, like it built a lot more trust. But I think moving forward, the video review is actually going to be even bigger than the photo review in the future. So
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, some of it does have to do with the product in specific. Like one of the ones that I found through the course of the research I do on a week to week basis was a weight loss product. So the customers they undress themselves, respectfully, tastefully, to show their before and their after photos, and there was dozens of those. And so, yeah, I mean, I suppose that could be faked, but I would I would give that a pass. Whereas I can see if it's just like a pen, and the pen is there's just a photo of the pen. Oh yeah, I love this pen, and then they put it on the floor and they say I love this pen on my mahogany table. So that I can definitely understand. But it's also interesting too that it is that cat and mouse game because photo reviews are more legitimate than text reviews, and video reviews are more legitimate than photo reviews. But there are also concerns of deep fakes, which is it's not something that we can ignore forever, because the technology has improved significantly. I don't know if you've seen or heard of this. I think it's somewhat prevalent. Do you know what I'm referring to?
no, not really. No.
Okay. Well, I mean, it certainly wasn't one of the things I was planning on bringing up, but I think this is as good a time as any. So, a deep fake is this technology that allows people to Photoshop videos, so they can put somebody else's head onto another person's body. They can try to manipulate sound so that a person it sounds like somebody else. There's one that it's done in good taste. So what they did was they sat a bunch of people who could all do really good impressions. Like one guy could do a really good Tom Cruise, and they did like a roundtable discussion. But then they superimposed all of the actors' faces onto the impersonators, and it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad either. It was uncanny. Definitely made its way into the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see like, okay, well, once we get to that point, there'll probably be another evolution after that too, which might be like holographic reviews where a person materializes, or virtual reality reviews or stuff like that. Like I can't see resisting it for forever.
Yeah, I guess it's all you just gotta whatever business you're in, you gotta evolve with the times, I think. Yeah, so I think definitely now if you do video reviews, it's going to make a big difference, and then maybe there will be holographic something in the future that everyone goes to. So yeah,
uh, if uh, if in 20 years I'm right, I owe you a Coke.
well, it's been filmed, so being recorded. Sorry, so
Yep. Yeah. I'll honor it. I also, yeah, professionally, I save all my files into a hard drive too. So I like to hold on to my recording legacy. So you've mentored quite a lot of people, and I've checked out some of the testimonials, and they speak very highly of you. Your genuine personality and the passion for what you do comes through. What I would like to know is what personal qualities have you noticed that are common among your clients?
I don't know, probably very broad sort of thing. I sort of find that a lot of people that sort of share my values sort of run into me for some weird reason, like they're attracted to me. Just
Hmm.
for just for example, like my business is called Inspire Small Business, and you would actually be surprised how many people in their about page it actually says Inspire somewhere in there. They're like
Hmm.
they're drawn to that word. So I think like when people see that, they might think we share the same sort of values. So I do get a lot of people that sort of are like, they want to work hard, they love what they do. So it's very, feels a bit uncanny or something like that, that like I'd get a lot of people like that. Obviously, not everyone is like that, but yeah, it is a bit weird that I get a lot of people that share the same sort of values. But I think realistically, like if you think about how when I get a client, I've done a video review and then I've sent them to my reviews page where they see video reviews from my customers, stuff like that. So they probably get a very good idea about what sort of person I am. So if they can see some of their qualities in me, they're probably more likely to work with me, sort of thing. So yeah, definitely something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I pick up on that too. Like, in addition to having passion for it, or um, really, I mean, for me, working a job, what helps me stick around too is also having those same frequencies as the people that I work around. Because if we don't, I'm not a fan of saying vibes, but I do get the point behind it. But if people don't have the same vibes, then they will repel from each other. Versus sharing the same vibes will attract one another. So that checks out. But it's interesting to hear that they manifest through just interacting virtually versus trying to pick up on that while people are in person.
Yeah, and another thing onto that as well, I actually read this book that helped me actually name my company. It's called Your One Word. So it's about finding the word that really like means a lot to you, and that's why I actually called my business Inspire Small Business. And the the whole premises of it is that people are drawn to certain words and stuff like that. So if you actually find the word that really is really powerful to you, then people are going to be drawn to that word. So that probably has
Hmm,
another thing to do with it as well. So yeah, that's made a big difference in my life, probably that book. So yeah,
interesting. I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to think of one off the top of my head. Huh.
yeah. Well, the whole book goes through like steps of like how you find your word, sort of thing. So yeah, you'd probably end up having a few words by the end of it, and then bring it back to one, sort of thing. So yeah.
And the first one that popped into my head was seminal. But do you recall any of the words that were like competing for first place?
I thought courage was like a word. And
Mm,
then when I really sort of started to think about it, I was like, this is probably not the right word for me, sort of thing. Like it was inspire from the start. And then there was probably three or four other words that I sort of tried to go towards. And then it always just come back to inspire. And
hmm
I think one of the reasons why it ended up being like that is that in 2014-15, when I had no idea how to build a website, a lot of people on YouTube really inspired me. So I think I wanted to end up being the person to inspire other people to do the same thing. So yeah, that's why I've got my YouTube channel. It's really just, people that can't afford to actually hire someone to redesign their website. It's sort of like paying it forward. Like a lot of people
hmm
help me for free, and then the other side of it is that it's for my clients as well. So it's really for those two people to make it easier for them.
Yeah, and I do notice that in terms of business models, is that a lot of this, and Debutify is included in this, but a lot of these models are great for people just trying to get their feet wet. Because if things are going well and they need additional help, then they can hire you, or they can sign up for more premium plans on Debutify. Or I talked to last person I talked to was Robin. They can sign up for more premium levels on Udroppy. So people might be reluctant to have to pay like an enormous entry fee to get in, but when people are willing to show some goodwill, that goodwill comes back. And I can say that for myself too. For the few years before, while I was freelancing, I would always do consultations for free. I was always happy to do it. I would get to meet somebody, go get a coffee with them. I miss those days, getting coffee in person those days. And then we would sit down and I would spend an hour just talking to them and hearing the story and understanding why they want to make a podcast. And many times they end up saying, "Hey, we'd love to work with you," just because paying it forward and putting in goodwill is a form of energy, and I would even say it's a form of currency, and you definitely get what you invest back.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's why I sort of liked Debutify at the start so much, because it sort
Hmm.
of felt like they were in line with like my values and stuff like that. Um, yeah, definitely. Like I've been with Debutify. I think they only had 2,000 downloads when I found Debutify, so that was a long time ago. And they just, it's sort of like, I don't know, it just felt like they had my values as well. And I actually got a lot of advice and stuff back earlier, and like very established businesses and my family and stuff said that me doing the video review was not a good idea, and for free, like I should
Hmm.
charge for it. And that is like been one of the biggest things for my business, is that I did those video reviews. Like I go into them expecting nothing in return. Like I'm going to give that person, if they're in India or anywhere, it doesn't really matter what country they're in, I'm going to give them value, expect nothing in return, because I honestly believe like if you do give value, it does come back to you. Like
Hmm.
you can definitely see that with Debutify, like how much they've grown. Like, and you're right, like people can test out their theme, they like it, they get some sales, and then they'll like a lot of people upgrade to the add-ons and stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think you find that people who ask that question, they're also a product of the way that they were raised and conditioned. Like, not I would never want to name names, but I can think of one friend whose his father was very business oriented. Some businesses went well, some didn't, but it conditioned him to think that transactions had to be very clear and very simple. There was money, there was service, and he never recognized the importance of investing with goodwill because he never saw that himself. So a lot of times people ask questions, and a good way to ask a question is to not know what the answer is, but to be open to whatever the answer is going to be. A bad way to ask a question is to ignore any answer but the one you think you're going to get anyways.
yeah, 100%.
So, at the level you're currently at, I imagine that you are facing some different challenges, and one of them that you mentioned earlier is, you do need to consider hiring other people and expansion. But I'd like to know, aside from that, are you facing any other challenges unique to the position you're currently at?
I would say, yeah, like, yeah, that's pretty much my only real big problem is expanding. Like, there's only one of me, sort of thing, and there's only so many people I can help, sort of thing. Um, I guess like a challenge I'm having now is I'm actually looking to rent office space out. That seems like a bit of a challenge, you know. And then hiring the right people, it's something that, like in my old job, I hired a lot of people. Like I was sort of like a supervisor, looked after a lot of people. But when it's my own business, it's a bit different. Like it's really important to hire the right people to make this sort of have the same values as me and not all be about the money. Like I don't want this business to be about the money. Like I probably wouldn't help my clients so much if it was about the money. It's more for me. It's the money is great. It's good, but I don't really want to see people do well. Like, and
Mhm.
yeah, so hopefully one day I'll actually hire someone that can just be a support person for free for all my clients. So that's one of my goals as well. I want to have someone who's just there that just helps past clients for free always. So yeah, hopefully that sort of answered the question, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to make sure if there was any other stones in need of turning over.
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
Actually, I probably just thought of one thing. I sort of went on it a bit. It's more me. Like I want to get myself in shape, and I think I'm holding myself back a little bit. So I'm trying to. I got a personal trainer. Trying to focus a lot more on goals and mindset and stuff like that. So yeah, that's one. That's another thing that is a bit of a challenge as well. So
mhm,
yeah, and separating work from home time. So at the moment, I work from home. So I pretty much just work all the time
mhm.
when I'm here. So I want to try to separate it a bit and have a work life balance, sort of, and feel good in my own self as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension points there because there's a lot of cost benefit analysis. Like I'm working from home as well, and it can be difficult to compartmentalize our work life from our home life, especially because my computer is right by my bed. So I can roll out of bed and get with enough practice, I'll be able to roll right onto my chair. But the difference between that and having an office space allows me to almost like not become a different person, but become the different side of me to be most efficient in this environment.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
My
and
my bed's behind that wall, so it's very easy to just go in there, go to sleep.
mhm. Yeah, and then also with with exercise as well. I've talked to some of the other guests about this too, and it's a point that is worth hammering home each and every chance that we get. But do not discount how important it is to have to have a routine, to have exercise, and to have a proper diet. And there were and it transitions perfectly into one of the questions I had, which was you talked about burnout in specific, and this is something that I've experienced too. But I remember when I was working in retail, and the first time I heard about burnout was another one of my coworkers. They were saying, "Oh, a lot of people they come and they go, they get burnt out," and I had never been burnt out, so I didn't know what it means. So, in your experience, pretend some of the people listening. Actually, you don't have to pretend. I'm sure some of them listening are like this. What happened? How did you burn out, and how did you get past it?
So it like even though I love what I do, obviously it's a lot of work, and I do get burnt out sometimes. For me personally, I think the beach is like the best thing for me. Like
Ah,
there's this island. That's why I've got like a picture of the beach in the background and stuff on my wall and that. There's actually an island here in New South Wales in Australia where it's like a 6K walk. You like to walk to this island, and I like to actually go walk that 6Ks. Just no distractions, and then walk back, and it sort of clears my mind, sort of thing.
hmm
Because there's literally nearly no one on this island. So for the whole 12Ks, you'll literally not see anyone except for the start of the beach. So I find like going to the beach is like something that calms me, sort of thing. Maybe the waves crashing, and um, pretty much when I walk back from there, I know where I want to be in my life. So that's what sort of helps me. If I feel burnout, I'll go to the beach. If I feel really burnout, then I'll go on that walk to that island. And then I don't think I've ever walked there and back and not known what I want to do or feel better about myself or my life.
well, that's a great answer. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why the beaches can have that effect. Obviously, because people associate that with recreation and relaxation. But one thing that never really occurred to me until you mentioned it is that there's also an element of power. Beaches are usually complemented by a body of water, and those body of waters can be quite massive, and they can lead right into an ocean. So the idea that there's that much power, but as that power reaches the shore, it dissipates and it turns into something quite calming and soothing and even enjoyable. But the further out you go into the water, the more the water overpowers the person. So I just thought that was interesting. I never thought about that before.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, the island that I go to, like you can walk there, but it's only really shallow. Like we're walking across. So you can either walk there 6Ks, or you go like another 2 hour drive, catch a boat ferry over, sort of thing. So that's I don't know, just love it.
I hope everyone gets a good takeaway from that. Find somewhere that they can go to just I guess recharge and reset because you say when you come back you know what it is that you want to do, and I think
Yeah,
that's really important because it would be great to de-stress and then come back and have all that stress come back, but for it to not come back. Honestly, I didn't think the answer was going to be that good. I don't know, for some reason I thought it was going to be like a 6 year overture where you had to work on it day by day, and I'm sure that you are, but to know that there are some more direct things that we can do is a good takeaway even for me.
yeah, 100%. Like it's been a massive change in my life doing it. Even when I started doing this business, like I was saying, I had a pretty good job. I worked there for 6.5 years, I think. And when I resigned, I pretty much had a day off and went to the beach, and I come back and I knew what I wanted to do with my life. So it was, yeah, it's pretty special to me, that island. So
Terrific. Well, thank you for the answer. I can understand. These are audio recordings, so they're not going to see the video, but I can see his beach picture, and it's lovely. So I've got one. I'd like to have at least like one fun question, which is in one of your one of your images. You stuck your head into a gallows, your head and your hands in there. Um, how, how close is that to your house? Like, what's the what is that a display? Is it in use? Like, what's going on with it?
it was at a wedding, I think, one of my mates' wedding.
Oh, wedding.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it was like it was a while ago, and I seen it, and I was all in a suit and everything, and I thought, wonder if I can put my head in there and not like get my white collar of my suit dirty or something. So I don't know, just a bit of fun. I think they had like a sort of farm sort of vibe with some mixed in with some little interesting things there. So yeah, that's how I actually, yeah, I don't know. I've always been like sort of that person who will take a weird photo or something. So or get someone to take it of me. So
Mm-hmm. It's just when you said it was for a wedding, I try not to associate gallows with a wedding, but well,
yeah,
it's just funny.
yeah. Now I think about it, it's a bit interesting. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's probably like 10 minutes away from me drive. So it's not that far.
yeah. All right, so well, we're gonna move into a couple of like engagement style questions. First one, this is an interesting one. So let's say hypothetically that I am coming to you for advice, but I've gotten advice from other people too, and maybe some of that advice was bad. Can you think of any examples of really bad advice that people were given, maybe by another so-called mentor?
I don't like to really say that. Like, I wouldn't actually say it was bad advice to someone,
Okay,
because a lot of people hold people very high, sort of thing. Maybe sort of more like point them like, oh, you could try this as well, sort of thing. Or, um, but probably one of my go-to things is like, if you hear stuff, you should probably test it out and then have a set time. If it doesn't work, then try something else, sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I definitely. The one thing that really sticks in my mind is that I don't want to say this is bad advice because I have mixed feelings on this whole thing. But
sure. So maybe I should have characterized it a little less harshly. I mean, it could be misguided advice. It could be someone that didn't quite. Maybe they got it. It would have been good advice for somebody else. So
yeah, probably I don't know. Like you know, you if you go on YouTube, someone will say this is just an example. Like someone will say this is how you do a product page or this is how you do a homepage. Um, but there's so many niches out there that that will not work for everyone, sort of thing. So you really have to sort of like assess the situation, like what those visitors want. Like I think people see that and they think that is gospel. Like I have to do my product page
right,
like that. When really it really depends on your products, your niche. Yeah, I see a lot of that. Like people just think that that is the way to do it when you know there's probably a better way to do it, or you could always test things. You should always test things. Like I was sort of gonna say, one thing that I'm mixed about is trust badges. So a lot of people will
hmm
say that you have to have trust badges on the product page. And then you look at my 10 best clients, and 9 of them don't have trust badges. And a lot of people will say that you should have trust badges, where I sort of feel like, um, you know, people have been using them on their sites for so many years now that it actually does the reverse. Like maybe that isn't the way to go to have trust badges, or there's a better way to do it. A lot of people use scammy looking ones and stuff like that. So, there is an element to where you can use them and where you shouldn't use them, the niche. There's so many different things like that sort of, yeah. That's all I can probably sort of think of, sort of thing. So
That's fair. I mean, it's an interesting one because you can you can build trust, as we mentioned earlier on in the show. There's lots of things that we can do. We can do testimonials. We can have genuine copy, a website that looks good throughout the entirety of the funnel. So, whereas if somebody maybe skips a lot of those steps and then just says, "Well, I got the trust badge, so I guess we're good." So I can see that as people maybe thinking of that as a crutch when because they might not be a scammer. They might have good intentions, but that badge is in of itself not actually an authority one way or another.
yeah, just for example, like I see a lot of people that would put a trust badge on their product page over actually writing a product description. Like it's probably not the most important thing here. It's probably more important to do a very good product description than have a trust badge. So
I feel like I've seen that. Oh, a miniature air conditioner, 100% verified. Oh, all right,
yeah,
great. Yeah, that's
so,
exactly what I needed to know about the air conditioner.
but if anyone's listening, if you're on the fence, you should test it out. Like do 30 days with a trust badge, and then do 30 days without a trust badge, and see where you are at the end of 2 months. Like there's only really one way to find out, and it's to test each one. And I
Mhm.
think, especially on my old website, I was a big believer in testing. I did a lot of testing, like especially on the homepage. I tested so many different things, and yeah, you should just always test it if you're on the fence, see how it goes.
I agree. That makes total sense. You recommend some key apps. You mentioned Looks. There was a couple of other ones I would love for you to describe briefly for people just to get them interested in it. There was Glorify, Lucky Orange, I believe it was Give and Grow. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about these guys?
So Give and Grow is like an app where you can automatically like donate to a charity. So if if someone buys something off you, you can select like you donate 5% of your order to that, and then you pay that app. And what it actually does, it has a counter on your website, so it keeps ticking higher and higher the more people buy off you because you're donating more. So it might be like donate to save dogs or something like that, and it'll have like 15 dogs saved or something like that for your
Uh-huh.
website. I did a lot of testing on that app, and I actually found that it really helped conversions. The only problem with that app is if you have donated nothing, it normally goes the other way. So you sort of have to maybe have it in the background a little bit, do some donations, and then actually code it into your website once you've actually donated a bit of money. That's a pretty good one. Luke's, yeah, definitely love Luke's photo reviews. Couple of other, Lucky Orange. I really like Lucky Orange. That actually records what people do on your website. So you actually can watch videos of exactly what your visitor sees, what they do. So if they're on a mobile, you see what they see on their mobile phone, desktop, stuff like that. Pretty good app for if you're running like paid traffic to your website. So especially paid traffic, because then you can really work out what's going wrong quickly on your website. So you could have it for a couple of weeks, watch a lot of videos. If like 20 people are leaving your website in the same spot, there's probably something wrong there they have to think about.
Yeah, and that just ties into your point about testing too. Is that if you're going to test it, you also want to make sure you're getting the best results from your tests.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I found a lot of problems with websites just from that app. Like you see all this traffic going there and people are leaving on the same spot, like, and you realize, yeah, there's a problem here. So yeah, I really love that. Debutify, obviously. I build about 70-80% of my clients' websites on Debutify. So it's a very high number. Um, like I think that's a great app. It's definitely good if you want to start out. Like, yeah, if you just want a free theme, that's better than the free themes that Shopify offer. Then
Mhm.
Debutify is definitely the one to go with. Yeah, like they're probably the best ones. I've been using an app called Photo Resize lately. So that actually resizes all your product photos. it's pretty good if you have thousands of products. It's a bit daunting to resize all the photos for that many. Some themes automatically resize them, but I'd say a lot of them don't. So that's a pretty good app. It's always better to do it yourself, but if you have hundreds of products, it's probably better to use that app. I haven't really noticed it slow down websites, so yeah, I think that's a really good app. So yeah, and there's obviously like email marketing apps. There's heaps of them. There's heaps of different ones you could use. But I really think, like, I go into a lot of websites and I'll see people have 25 apps or something, and I actually don't think you need that many apps. Like, most websites only need 5 apps max. And, a lot of people think that it's like the supermarket in the app store where they just keep grabbing everything off the shelf
Right.
when you don't really need that many apps. And a lot of apps slow down your website, especially if you have too many. So that's another great thing about Debutify. They've got all the add-ons, so it's all in one app, instead of having like 5 apps that do all the same things as Debutify.
Excellent. So I imagine that people are going to be pretty motivated to want to move forward with this. So let's wrap up and let's just go over how people can reach out to you to get your services, and if you have any parting recommendations for people either starting their website or to have at the ready when they come to you, let us know.
Yeah, so my website's inspiresmallbusiness.com. You can go there and just contact me. I'll do a free video review, no worries. My YouTube channel is Clayton Bates, Shopify expert. You can check that out. I'm planning to do a lot more videos there. Yeah, that's about it for how to contact me.
And any parting advice for people getting started, even if they haven't started their store yet?
Probably a couple of things, like I sort of said before, most people can't make this work if they don't love what they do. So find something that you love. There's always going to be the outliers that can do anything and make it work. But I think if you find something you're passionate about, you're going to go the extra mile to make it work. And probably the other thing is to not give up if you have a dream too soon. Like, just for me, I don't know if most people heard my story, but just for me to do this business, I nearly lost everything, my house, everything. And just when I was about to give up, this whole business exploded. So I was literally about to give up, and now this is like the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I nearly gave up. Like, I was a week away from giving up, less than that. And it's like, there's a meme sort of thing, I think, where someone's like digging to the diamonds and they're nearly there and they give up, and the other person just keeps going. Obviously, there's times you should give up, but maybe do a little bit more digging before you give up. Because I see a lot in Facebook groups, people have tested 5-10 different niches, or they've done one thing for a couple of weeks, didn't work. Definitely, really put the work into it and give it the best shot, and hopefully you'll find the diamonds. So.
Absolutely. I can back you up on that 100% because, like I was saying, I've done podcasting for starting off even as a hobby. It's been 10 years. I'm 30 now, and I got into it when I was 19, 20. Maybe it was like a 1 year margin of error there. And I didn't give up. I stuck to my guns. And over time, as the industry started to flourish, I was able to build my skill set and be ready for when the demand increased. So sticking to your guns is pretty often one of the best strategies that one can have. But yes, there are cutoff points, but it's all right as long as you give it your absolute best and then some. I think you'll do pretty good.
Yeah, just one thing on that I didn't really think about is you could do a business that you love, and maybe it doesn't fully work out, but you could actually take all those skills that you learn in that business into the next business and make that an even better business. Like, as long as if it does fail, at least you've learned a lot, like, about online business or whatever. You've got skills that you can take into something else. So there's no real failure if you
That's true.
give it a go. So
Yeah, there's no losing if you're learning.
yeah. So
Excellent. Well, Clayton, I appreciate every minute of your time. This was a great chat.
no worries. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was nice talking to you. I'm really excited to do this. Like I've said, I just love Debutify. I actually don't think I'd be where I am without Debutify. So I really love Debutify. So
yeah, I can say the same too. Believe me.
Yeah.
You might have found this show on any number of platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or right here on Debutify. Whatever the case, if you enjoyed this content and want to help us thrive, please take a few moments to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you think is best. We also want to hear from you, so whether you think you'd be a good guest or want to weigh in on anything related to our show, you can email podcast@debutify.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Finally, this podcast is created by the passionate team at Debutify. If you're ready to take the plunge into e-commerce or are looking to up your game, head over to Debutify.com and see how it can change your life and the lives of many through what you do next.